Tonight, the desperate search for a missing tourist at Main Beach. Tributes for an 8-year-old Gold Coaster killed in a ski accident in Japan. Claims of secret CFMEU deals, the Mollendina business that's under the spotlight. Local petrol stations under fire for pumping up prices. Plus, we're one-on-one with our homegrown Matilda's Golden Girl ahead of the Women's Asian Cup.
Live from 50 Carroll Avenue, Surfers Paradise, this is 9 Gold Coast News with Paul Taylor.
Good evening. A beachgoer has described to 9 News the frantic moments he tried to rescue a young tourist who disappeared in the surf at Main Beach. Emergency crews from a number of agencies launching an extensive search operation by air and in the water for the 20-year-old.
Running to comfort a young woman who doesn't know if she'll ever see her boyfriend again. She's just been treated by paramedics for emotional distress after watching as the 20-year-old Filipino tourist was dragged underwater.
There was an Asian lady just at waist deep yelling, realised that she was asking for help, and then she pointed out to a man, he was bobbing up and down.
The pair were swimming off Breaker Street in Main Beach after the red and yellow flags were taken down and lifeguards went home last night.
Threw my phone on the beach and ran in to try to help. And there was another guy who touched him, then we just didn't see him. He just disappeared.
Police, lifesavers and lifeguards arriving around 6:30 after another beachgoer called 000. They searched from the sand and the sky.
Here comes the helicopter.
The multi-agency operation suspended after 2 hours due to a lack of light. Resuming early this morning, efforts today focus between Kurrawa and the Spit.
It is quite big. Generally, the current does push north.
Any swell around 1.5 meters and a large rip, making for such challenging conditions here last night. Lifeguards went around warning beachgoers to avoid the water before they left for the day.
And there was another guy who basically said to me that he was drowning and he was sinking. I'm struggling myself. It was like a washing machine out there. To his family, we tried to save him, but we couldn't.
And sadly, I can tell you tonight that this massive search and rescue operation has ended in tragedy with a family's worst fears confirmed. We were here at Breaker Street in Main Beach around 1:30 this afternoon. We saw the police dive squad heading back out to sea to continue their search efforts, and just 10 minutes later they made the tragic discovery of the 20-year-old man's body not far from where he was last seen. A report will now be prepared for the coroner. Paul, this is now the second drowning at Main Beach just this week.
That is terrible news indeed. Thanks for the update, Paige. Let's go live now to Giselle Manning. And Giselle, the local community is paying tribute to a girl who died at a ski resort in Japan.
Paul, the Jeffries family were travelling in Hakuba village over in Japan when 8-year-old Chloe tragically passed away. Her and her mother were on a snowmobile when it flipped, trapping Chloe underneath that snowmobile. The family is very well loved here at the South Coast Netball Association here in Palm Beach. Chloe's mum is even on the committee, and yesterday they took to social media saying she was known for her beautiful nature, her cheeky, infectious smile and the joy she brought by simply just being herself. The community this afternoon have confirmed to me that they will be hosting a moment's silence here at the Malua Courts in Palm Beach. Her team will also play this weekend, but wearing pink sparkly ribbons to honour Chloe and Paul. The Department of Foreign Affairs have said that they have made contact with the family and are helping them out and assisting them while they're still overseas.
A real tragedy, Giselle. Thank you. Possible links between a Mollendina traffic management company and a Melbourne gangland figure are tonight under the microscope. Ned Baum has these details.
Well, the Commission of Inquiry into the CFMEU has long harboured concerns about a growing influence from further south, and today they're seeking information into this company, M1 Traffic Transport, here in Mollendina on the Gold Coast, and what they believe are links to Melbourne gangland identity Mick Gatto. The unassuming address is little more than a shared garage, recently commencing operations alongside other local businesses. But it's the corporate structure that set off alarm bells for investigators. Senior counsel assisting the inquiry claims M1 Traffic Control is displaying similar details to that featured in the Jeffrey Watson report into the Victorian CFMEU that alleged links to the M Traffic Control Group and Mick Gatto that ultimately led to favourable treatment and benefits to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. In the Watson report handed down last month, Gatto was described as a malignant influence accused of bribery, extortion and threats.
It would be remiss of us not to investigate on the back of Jeffrey Watson SC's report that one of the companies that he says is linked to Mick Gatto now sets up in Queensland, because Queensland does not want to end up like Victoria.
The Commission isn't accusing this business of any wrongdoing, but is appealing to the public for any information on its current dealings in Queensland. 9 News has spoken to one of the men named as owning this company, Michael Portia, completely denying M1 Traffic Control has links to Mick Gatto.
Yes, I know who Mick is, of course, he's in the industry. But the business M1 Traffic Control, who they're investigating, never even had an EBA. It's never had a CFMU agreement. I'm happy to open up the door. They can come in and go through our books at M1 Traffic Control, no problems, and check. There is no link to unions or Gatto or anyone. Never has been.
We'll have the latest on this development and the inquiry into the CFMEU tonight, 9 News at 6.
The coronial inquest into the 2021 murder of Kelly Wilkinson has entered its second day, with the top Gold Coast cop saying police missed opportunities before her death. McKenna Bailey reports from Southport Magistrates Court.
In the 23 days before her death, Kelly Wilkinson had been in contact with police and support services. Today, those processes were under scrutiny, highlighting the shortfalls and failings in the way domestic violence complaints were reported and recorded by police. The mother of 3 was violently stabbed and set alight in April 2021 by her estranged husband, Brian Earl Johnston, who was sentenced to life imprisonment 3 years later. On day 2 of the coronial inquest, a top Gold Coast cop admitted there were missed opportunities by police before Kelly was killed, including inappropriately giving Johnston bail. Detective Inspector Paul Fletcher went on to say there was areas they could have improved, also noting the complexities officers faced in 2021, referencing staff shortages, lack of resourcing and high demand for DV call-outs, which he said has only increased today. A serious event review was completed after Kelly's death, with 6 recommendations made and implemented, as well as introducing a 5-day specialist course for all Gold Coast DVU staff. Coroner Stephanie Gallagher asked the senior officer, "Do you think those changes would have had a different outcome for Kelly?" He replied, "That's hard, I do not know." The final day of hearings will take place tomorrow, with Kelly's family expected to provide a statement.
Police have used tyre spikes to end a wild car chase at Mermaid Waters last night. At least a dozen officers were on hand when the pursuit came to an end on Rio Vista Boulevard. Police chased the 30-year-old owner, the driver's son, through peak hour traffic after noticing him driving on a footpath along the Gold Coast Highway at Southport almost an hour earlier. He's been charged with dangerous driving and evasion of police. Cashing in on conflict. Next, Gold Coast petrol stations under fire for pumping up prices. The countdown to our local Eisteddfod, why they need your help. Plus, calling on Gold Coasters from all walks of life for this year's Pacific Masters. There's no signs of any relief at the Bowser just yet, with RACQ warning it'll refer major fuel companies to the ACCC over recent fuel price hikes. The state's peak motoring body is accusing major service stations of increasing prices just days after the conflict in the Middle East.
We're seeing the same behaviour on the Gold Coast with fuel companies jumping up from that $2.13 mark up to an extra high of $2.19.9 per litre.
The advice is to shop around, but don't panic buy. Fuel can still be found for under $1.80 a litre at some independent retailers. The largest women's sporting event the city's ever seen is in full swing, with our very own Matildas going head-to-head with Iran tomorrow at Gold Coast Stadium.
It's fantastic to have role models like the Matildas here so that young players and people that haven't even played football are really inspired to play the beautiful game of football.
50,000 fans are expected through the gates for the AFC Women's Asian Cup. A live site will also be set up at Kurrawa Park. Should be a beauty. Attention all performers and would-be volunteers. Our Gold Coast Eisteddfod's preparing for another talent-packed festival. Patrina Zaffa reports on how you can get involved.
Well, the year is just flying, and that means we're into Eisteddfod season. Nikki, we're already gearing up.
We are, Patrina. Entries have opened, which is exciting.
What categories will we see this year?
All of our music, dance and drama. We've got nearly 600 sections for people to choose from.
Any new categories?
We have a cabaret section in vocal and an accompanist section. So the accompanists bring along their soloists, but they get judged, which will be on during piano, and own composition.
And what happens with the own composition?
Own composition is when performers can write their own pieces and submit it for judging.
Why do you think the Eisteddfod has stood the test of time?
It's all about those performers getting up on stage and doing what they love. And I think that it gives them a release to enter the performing world.
I think it'd be difficult to find somebody on the Gold Coast who hasn't been in the Eisteddfod, or their children haven't been in the Eisteddfod. It's quite generational.
It definitely is. That's how I got involved when my children were growing up. I started as a volunteer and here I am now.
Do you need more volunteers?
We love having any volunteers on board. We have a family of about 50 and ever increasing, and we love having them.
Nikki, that's wonderful. We'll see you there.
You definitely will.
And just a reminder, entries will be closing on April 22nd.
Vying for the ultimate bragging rights. Coming up, your preview of our biggest celebration of senior sport. Will Jamara Ugle-Hagan be overlooked for Sun's debut? That's despite a forward line opening. And Bronte catches up with Hayley Rasso from Palm Beach on the eve of the Matildas Gold Coast Showdown. Despite a gap in the forward line with Jed Walters suspended, Suns coach Damien Hardwick is set to overlook Bulldogs recruit Jamara Ugle-Hagan for the round one clash against Geelong. He reckons a few weeks in the lower grade will be in the player's best interest.
He's got the capacity to play. It's just is it the right thing for him to play this week as compared to maybe wait a week or two? There's no one that wants him to succeed more or play more than me, but I've got to do the right thing by the lad.
But the triple premiership coach will blood Suns Academy product and number 2 draft pick Zeke Uland. The rookie was presented his debut jumper by older brother and fellow son Bodie.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, that's pretty nice, isn't it? Matt Rowe's eager to get back to training, showing just how capable he is with just one hand, but he's still a month away from game time after that fracture. Well, following his first career pole at the recent Sydney 500, former Gold Coast Supercars driver James Golding could not help but deliver a subtle little backhander to the team that sacked him, Arundel's Premier Racing.
Yeah, I don't feel like I've rolled out of bed this weekend compared to last year and just, picked up my driving 20-30%.
Carrara's Brock Feeney's leading the championship at the moment, with Golding still hunting a career-first podium at the Melbourne Super Sprint, which starts tomorrow. Hayley Rasso's friends and family will be out in droves tomorrow night when the Matildas make a rare appearance on the Gold Coast. Bronte Gilday caught up with the Palm Beach junior, who's hoping she won't be the only local in action against Iran.
Matilda's winger Hayley Rasso often comes home during the European off-season, but this trip she's on national duty. The Palm Beach junior back to juggling a footy at Pizzey Park, only now with a lot more security.
I'm so happy to be here. The air feels different. I don't think there's any better feeling in the world than playing in your hometown, having your family, your friends, the locals, the people that know you there.
The Matildas are preparing for their second Women's Asian Cup pool match against Iran tomorrow night. Already with the 1-0 win over the Philippines, Rasso nearly on the score sheet.
A perfect run from Hayley Rasso. Hayley Rasso has a very nicely taken strike, chalked off.
For us, it was just about like getting started, getting ready, getting things happening, and obviously we'll have to go back, we'll do some analysis and we'll prepare for that Iran game, but it was nice to start the tournament off with a win, build that confidence that we'll need to gear up for the rest of the tournament.
Rasso, a vital member of the Aussie side that shot to international stardom during the 2023 World Cup. That result only motivating the Matildas of 2026 to go one better on home soil.
I feel like we've fallen short a couple of times. That finishing fourth, it's always tough. You're close, but you're not quite there. So I think this is a tournament where we really want to excel. We've come here, we've got the tournament in Australia like we had the World Cup, and we know what it's all about, and we definitely want to go one better, and that's our goal.
World Cup penalty shootout hero and Burleigh FC junior Mackenzie Arnold fighting to be fit to play in her hometown, training with the squad but nursing a calf injury.
I'm sure she'll be ready and firing to go for that game.
Bronte Gilday, 9 Gold Coast News.
Well, gearing up for the Gold Coast Masters. Next, how you can get involved on and off the field.
And what a beautiful afternoon on the Broadwater. It is mostly clear skies, just a light southeasterly breeze, and we're in for another great sunset. I'll have your full forecast up next.
If you've still got that competitive edge, entries are open for this year's Pac Masters Games. Patrina Zaffa went along to find out about the new and returning sports that are included.
Well, the Gold Coast is definitely the home of the Masters Games. Ben, entries are now open.
They certainly are. I'm very excited. 42 sports. We're expecting 16,000 people to be here in November this year, and it's a great event and really showcases the whole of the Gold Coast, and we're looking forward to hosting everyone.
And we've got some new sports or sports coming back.
Yeah, paddle is new and badminton is new to us, but there's 42 sports, people that are used to coming. There's a lot of team sports, so 90% of the people playing are usually playing a team sport, and it's such a great event for the Gold Coast, bringing in over $30 million for the economy.
Even though they're Masters, they're very competitive, aren't they?
It's very competitive. It's even competitive in our office at the moment, deciding which sports we're going to play. But yeah, absolutely. And throughout this week, we'll see sports sell out really quickly. So I encourage everyone that wants to compete to get their teams together and get in and register quickly.
It's going to be a festival atmosphere.
Yeah, so the last couple of years that we've done it, the cafes are full, the hotels are full, the entertainment's full. It's really adults really let their hair down and have a great time, and which is why we see such great numbers when it comes to economic impact for the city. So there's an opportunity there for everyone. We encourage them to join.
Ben, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And the Masters Games kicks off here on the Gold Coast from November 6.
Our very own queen of the treadmill, Patrina Zaffa, reporting there. Here's Melissa and Joel now with all the big and breaking stories coming up next.
Thanks, Paul. Homeward bound. We have details in a few minutes as the first plane load of Australians leaves the Middle East.
Bombs rain down on the building where Iran was choosing its new supreme leader.
Cashing in on conflict, RACQ calls out fuel retailers for price hikes.
Kyle and Jackie O's $200 million radio deal unravelling.
Cyclone fears increasing, the tropical low heading towards our coast.
The new push for employees to get an extra week of annual leave.
And last night's magnificent blood moon.
All of those stories, plus the rest of today's breaking news coming right up after your local weather. See you then.
Garry's back now with the full weather forecast. And Gaz, a little damp underfoot when I went for my stroll this morning.
Oh, you must have been up early, PT, because those showers had cleared before sunrise. Look, isolated falls, 1 to 5 millimetres in most of the gauges. The standout was Coombabar Creek with 11 millimetres in the gauge today. But it had cleared by sunrise, and we have that proof. Have a look at these pictures. I got to witness the sunrise firsthand this morning. As it peaked above the horizon, it was spectacular, totally visible until it ran into some sort of low to mid-level cloud. It disappeared for a little while before that cloud burning off, revealing plenty of blue sky, and the day just got better, turning out to be a magic afternoon indeed. Let's have a look at temperatures. Warm autumnal day with high 20s across most of the suburbs. Coomera, the warmest place today, reaching a top of 30 degrees. The overnight low in Nerang with 19. A magic time of the year. Right now, 26 degrees, 68% humidity, and that light onshore breeze. To the weather map, and a very active monsoon and low pressure system spreading rain and storms over the tropics. The potential for a tropical cyclone to form off Queensland's north coast over the next 24 24 to 48 hours. Showers and storms over the interior and a few showers for the east coast. Tomorrow on the Goldie, showers developing late morning, certainly by early afternoon. A top though of 29 degrees. Your outlook: Friday, widespread showers. It'll be wet. Saturday, a few showers. Sunday, widespread showers again. They're increasing and continuing into Monday with a shower or two again Tuesday. Looks like a bit of a damp weekend. For our beaches, red and yellow flags a must. The increase in swell. Busy day for lifeguards tomorrow. Wave size will be 1, even up to 1.5 metres later. Water temp 26 offshore tomorrow. East-southeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots. The swell up to 2 metres offshore. The first tide in the morning, a 1.7 metre high tide. That'll be just after 9 a.m. So the first half of the day will be the pick tomorrow, PT.
Hey, Gaz, I don't want to get a reputation. I wasn't up before sunrise, but it was still damp underfoot when I went for a walk at about 8:30. Thank you for that. Right, that is your local news for this Wednesday. Thanks for your company. If you've got something we should know about, let us know, will you, so we can report on it. In the meantime, here's Melissa and Joel. Good night.